All right, so here we are, day number 6. We got 2.5 boxes of mud left, so I think we're gonna have exactly enough mud. Everything is finish coated. Um, this wall here, it had a little bit of a hump here that I had noticed the other day, and I had filled it, and it was still just a tiny bit humpy, so I filled it again. But this wall only needs one more tight skim and a quick pre-sand in between, and then it's finished anyways. And then the closet, I coated the other side of the angles first thing when I got here this morning. So those will be dry tomorrow. And then I can brush these out and just skim those across real quick. So I got about 4 or 5 hours of skimming tomorrow. These walls, they're looking beautiful. The only reason why I got to give them one more coat is because the first skim coat was so thick that there was some big air bubbles that came through. And then on this coat, they're getting smaller. So on the next coat, they'll be gone after I just give it a quick pre-sand and then a tight skim with some pretty whippy mud. So like I said, I got about 4 or 5 hours of skimming these walls one more time. All of the walls all the way around. And it's gonna take me like probably 20 minutes to run through and brush them out real quick before I skim them. So, but yeah, I got about 4 or 5 hours skimming these walls still. And that little bit of stuff I showed you in the closet. But it's looking beautiful. It's looking really, really good. It's just a couple of air bubbles that still came through on this coat. So, but they're really small, so they will sand out and skim out on the next coat. And then we're beautiful. And then we're ready for finished sand. So we'll be finished sanding Wednesday. Tomorrow, like I said, it's gonna take me about 4 or 5 hours to do the coating. So I'll probably just start going around and just brushing out some ceilings or something. Get rid of some hard stuff tomorrow. So when I show up the next day, I can just brush out all the walls and then get up and start sponging. Hopefully get it all sanded out on Wednesday by the end of the day. If anything, I'll have to come back on Thursday for like 2 hours or something. But it's looking like Wednesday finished sand so far. So closet's all done in here. It's all ready for finished sand. So if the air bubbles weren't still persisting to come through, then we would be able to finish sand this because it's perfect. It's just the air bubbles. I want to get rid of the air bubbles because you don't want to paint it and have a whole bunch of air bubbles popping through. And it's going to make my work look yucky. And it's gonna make the painting look like yucky. So that's all, it's all finish coated now, everything. As you can see, the flats are still drying there a little bit. I did those first thing this morning. First thing I got in. And then this wall is looking really beautiful. So as you can see, like there's no lips now. It's just a quick, easy brush. And then a quick, easy skim with really loose mud. I skimmed this wall again today, pre-sanded it and skimmed it. This one's done. There's no air bubbles showing through on this one, so it's ready for, this whole kitchen's ready for finished sand now once that dries. So tomorrow, that's what I'll do. I'll go through, I'll finish off all the mudding, and then I'll probably come in here and sand this sucker out, complete the whole thing. That's one less room that I have to do the next day. And then if I have any time left, I'll just come through and maybe just start brushing out some ceilings. So that way when I come on Wednesday, there's less brushing that I have to do. And I'm that much closer to finish. So yeah, it's looking really good. If you watch the video from the very first day on this job to what it's looking like now, like wow, big difference. I love doing jobs like this because I actually get to see the quality of my work. Sorry about the shadow, it's the light coming in. I wanted to show you down here. I don't know, you might be able to see it. Yeah, it's cleaned right up. It's nice and straightened out now. It used to be like a really big indent there, things like that. Angles are beautiful. Ceilings are beautiful. So everything's all tied in. It looks really good now. It looks like it's always been this way once you paint it. So there's the brand new walls that I promised. I think I came through on my promise. That's good. So that's good. Most guys would probably just leave it the way it is and let the painter deal with the air bubbles, but I'm not like that. I like to do a proper job. I like when the painter leaves the job and says, damn, that was a good taper that taped before me, man. I had no touch-ups, you know? Same thing with the trim guy, and the trim guy puts the trim on. I like him to put it on and it's nice and flat. And he's like, damn, that taper straightened everything out. Like, look at the way these trims are sitting, they're perfect. And it's all because I filled it all and I straightened it all behind it. If I didn't bother to fill all that just because there's gonna be trim put there like most people do, those trims would not be mitered, like the miters wouldn't be sitting exactly flat and perfect like that. So So taping is very important, done properly, to be done properly. If it's not done properly, it makes everybody else's job afterwards hard. There, I don't know why they took that piece of trim out. It seemed fine. There must have been something wrong with it. So I'm hoping they're going to be putting it back in. If not, then I guess I'll have a patch that I'll have to do or whatever. No big deal. It is what it is. These homeowners have been great to me, you know. So I'll give them the patch. That's no big deal. I still got a little bit of sheetrock left anyways. So yeah, we're looking really good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I straightened all this out and now you can see that the trim just sits all flat and perfect, you know? Same thing behind here. I straightened all that out. If I wouldn't have bothered to fill right up to this and clean it all up, this wouldn't be sitting properly. It would be about a 1/4 inch back further. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's important to do certain little things that a lot of tapers don't do. So I'm responsible for the whole wall. That also means the 3 inches to 6 inches here, which a lot of tapers, they'll stop right there. What's the point of stopping on that last 3 inches? Make it all flat and perfect. That's the way I look at it. I don't know. It makes sense to me. Like most guys, that you won't see all this the way it looks like this. It would stop right there, and you'd see tape sticking out and chunks and everything. And no, man, most tapers don't even bother filling the screws around here because it's covered with trim. I do certain things like that, you know, because that screw could be sticking out. If the screw's sticking out, then the trim's going to sit on top of the screw and it's going to be sticking out. It's not going to be sitting flat. So very important to do certain things like that. Same thing, the angles down here. Most tapers don't bother going right to the floor. They go about 2 or 3 inches up from the floor because they know the trim's going to be 6 inches plus the 1/2 inch subfloor to 5/8 subfloor sometimes even an inch subfloor. Then plus 3 to 6 inches for the trim. Most people, they only go down to 3 inches and that's it. Like, what's the extra 3 inches? Just to make it look so much nicer and make everything sit flat and flush, you know? So that's the way I think when I do my jobs anyways. That's why I call my company name We Care Drywall Repair and Professional Plastering Services, because I believe that the work that I'm doing shows the care in it, and it shows that I'm professional at what I do. Just by looking at the work, it shows for itself. You know, I'm not being cocky. In the past 5 years out of 10, the past like 15 years that I've been in the business for myself, I've had nothing but great compliments from every single employer that I have worked for. Every homeowner, every real estate agent, every builder. I have not had one bad thing said about my work. I have not had one issue with being paid, and it's because my work speaks for itself. So it's a big thing in this world. Everybody's so sketched out that they're going to get a really crappy job. And when they see me come in, they know that they're not going to get a crappy job. And I like that feeling. So to know that I've left and everybody's happy, that's a good feeling. And nobody's going to be complaining about me. I might complain about the floor and the mess a little bit, but the walls are beautiful. But I'm probably one of the only tapers that's actually willing to stick around in the end and clean the floors a little bit too. I mean, I'm not going to make them perfect unless it's priced into the job, but I will scrape them and I will sweep them for the homeowner, customer, whoever they are that I'm doing the job for. And most tapers are not willing to do that. So they put some trims on there. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get at to sand up there, but I'll figure it out. That's okay. I told them they could do it, so it's not their fault. I told them this weekend, because I wasn't in this weekend, that, you know, if they wanted to get in here and try to get things done a little bit quicker, they could go ahead and throw some trims up. I could sand around it, right? So here we go. It's looking beautiful in here. Once this dries, it'll be all ready to sand out. Minus these, I just gotta skim them tight one more time. They'll be all ready by Wednesday anyways. So there we go. Yeah, it's looking beautiful in here. So like in here, I don't even have a knife that'll fit in here to make it look good. So he's best off just throw some caulking in there, spit on your finger, and wipe it across like that. Get these nails out of here. Wipe it across like this, And it's gonna at least make it look finished. This is about the only thing you can do with that. Same thing here. I don't even have a knife big enough to get in here, so just caulk this once it's all primed. Just caulk this angle. It's the best you can do with that to make it look finished. He's got to caulk all the way around the trims and everything too, so he did a little bit. I would have waited till it's all primed. It's a lot easier to put the caulking on nice, but I think he was just pre-filling it because it's kind of set back a bit. So if I help them prime, once the primer goes on, I'll caulk it all up really nice so it looks like it's all one piece. And then painter patch on top of all this stuff and clean it all up. It's best to prime it all first so you see exactly what the issues are, and then you can fill it and it's nice and smooth to work with. When it's like this, it's kind of hard. When you painter patch it, it looks really rough. But if you prime it first, it makes the painter patch sand off easier and everything. So anyways, and it makes the caulking slide easier too. So there we go. It's looking really good. Everything's all straightened out. We got perfect straight walls. We've got beautiful plaster walls that used to be really ugly. They're all brand new looking now. They just need some good thick coats of primer and then good thick coats of paint. And it'll be nice and beautiful in here. So that's it. The old blue room. This is the most impressive room yet. This is the one that I'm most impressed with. The roundness in the wall is nice and good now. It's more even, flows better. Looks like it was actually meant to be like that, kind of. So. Yeah, it looks a lot nicer. So there we go. It's all finish coated, but like I said, there's just a little bit of little air bubbles that are popping through. So I'm just gonna give it a quick brush and then a quick tight skim, and it's all finished sandable on Wednesday. So after I'm done my 4 or 5 hours of mudding tomorrow, I'll start, like I said, I'll sand out that kitchen first, and then I'll sand out this closet because there's nothing in there that's gonna be wet or anything. And then I'll come around and start brushing some ceilings for the rest of the day. And I'll be back on Wednesday to finish up the sanding, hopefully. All right, so there we go. That's where we're at. It's looking really good in here. It's starting to look like a house now. Once they get that primer on, once I get it sanded first and they get that primer on, it's gonna look so gorgeous in here. Super stoked. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sean Willard with We Care Drywall Repair and Professional Plastering Services. Our mission is old to brand new.